Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most contentious and complex conflicts in the world, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Specifically, we'll be exploring the motivations behind Hamas's ongoing warfare with Israel. In the heart of the Middle East, where history and modernity converge, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has been a long-standing source of strife and tension. Central to this battle is Hamas, a Palestinian militant group that has been a significant player in the resistance against Israeli occupation for decades. Understanding the role of Hamas in this conflict requires a journey back in time, to a period when national identities were still forming, and borders were frequently redrawn. The establishment of Israel in the mid-20th century sparked a profound and lasting conflict, with Palestinians finding themselves displaced, their movements restricted, and their lives and livelihoods often hanging in the balance. Hamas emerged as a forceful voice against this perceived injustice, positioning themselves as the guardians of Palestinian rights. This role is not a mere political posture for them, but a moral obligation. They see themselves standing firm against what they perceive as oppression and colonization of their homeland. A spokesperson for Hamas once stated, "Our struggle against Israel is rooted in our commitment to justice and liberation. We cannot stand idly by while our people suffer under occupation. We will continue to resist until Palestine is free." Beyond resistance, Hamas harbors a broader objective, the establishment of an independent Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital. They view armed resistance as a necessary path to this end, seeing diplomatic negotiations and peace talks as largely ineffective in the face of persistent Israeli aggression. As a Middle East expert once explained, Hamas sees armed resistance as a legitimate tactic in the struggle for Palestinian statehood. They believe that only through steadfast resistance can they pressure Israel to concede to their demands for independence. But what are the driving forces behind their actions? This video intends to explore this question in detail. The reasons behind Hamas's conflict with Israel are multifaceted and deeply rooted in historical grievances. As we delve deeper, we'll uncover layers of complexity that make this conflict more than a simple tale of right and wrong. One of the primary reasons cited by Hamas for their conflict with Israel is the perceived injustice towards Palestinians. This narrative of injustice is deeply ingrained in the psyche of Hamas and its supporters. Over the decades, Palestinians have faced displacement from their homes, restrictions on their movement, and a profound loss of life and livelihood. These circumstances, they argue, are a direct result of Israeli military actions and policies. Hamas, as a representative of these aggrieved Palestinians, sees their struggle as more than a political battle. It's a fight for justice, for liberation from what they perceive as an oppressive occupation. They see themselves as defenders of Palestinian rights, standing up against the colonization of their land. A Hamas spokesperson puts it this way, "Our struggle against Israel is rooted in our commitment to justice and liberation. We cannot stand idly by while our people suffer under occupation. We will continue to resist until Palestine is free." This commitment to justice and liberation is a powerful motivator for Hamas. It fuels their resistance and shapes their strategies. It's a narrative that resonates with many Palestinians who feel marginalized and oppressed under Israeli occupation. So, for Hamas, resistance against Israeli occupation is not just a political stance, it's a moral imperative. It's a call to action fueled by a deeply felt sense of injustice. A call that they believe will not be silenced until their vision of a liberated Palestine is realized. Furthermore, Hamas seeks to establish an independent Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital. The aspiration for statehood is not unique to Hamas, but is a common thread that unites Palestinians across political lines. However, the means to achieve this statehood is where Hamas significantly differs from other Palestinian factions. In the eyes of Hamas, their struggle for statehood is not just a political endeavor but a matter of survival. They believe that the establishment of a sovereign Palestinian state is the only way to ensure the safety and dignity of the Palestinian people, who have been living under occupation for generations. Hamas has chosen the path of armed resistance as a means to achieve this goal. They argue that negotiations and diplomatic efforts have proven ineffective in the face of Israeli military dominance. Instead, they see armed resistance as the only viable tool left in their arsenal to pressure Israel into conceding to their demands for independence. This perspective, while controversial, is deeply rooted in the lived experiences of the Palestinian people. It is a response to decades of oppression, displacement, and statelessness. To shed more light on this, let's hear from a Middle East expert. The expert says, Hamas sees armed resistance as a legitimate tactic in the struggle for Palestinian statehood. They believe that only through steadfast resistance can they pressure Israel to concede to their demands for independence. In this context, it's important to note that the quest for statehood is not just about territorial gains. It is about the recognition of the Palestinian people's right to self-determination, to live in peace and dignity on their own land. To sum up, Hamas's quest for statehood is driven by a deep-seated desire for justice, dignity, and self-determination. They believe that only through steadfast resistance can they pressure Israel to concede to their demands for independence. In conclusion, while the reasons behind Hamas's conflict with Israel are multifaceted and deeply rooted in historical grievances, one thing remains clear. This is a conflict marked by a relentless pursuit of justice, a steadfast determination for statehood, and an unwavering resistance against perceived oppression. We've seen how the narrative of injustice drives Hamas to stand against Israeli occupation, viewing themselves as defenders of Palestinian rights. Their struggle is embodied in the resilience of a people who have faced displacement, restrictions, and the loss of lives and livelihoods. We've also explored their quest for an independent Palestinian state with Jerusalem as its capital. They see their armed resistance as a viable means to this end, viewing negotiations and diplomatic efforts as ineffective in the face of what they perceive as Israeli aggression. But amidst these narratives and quests, we see an ongoing cycle of violence, a cycle that has brought suffering to both Israelis and Palestinians. It's a cycle that underlines the urgent need for a just and lasting resolution. This conflict is not just about land or borders, it's about people, their histories, their hopes, and their futures. It's a testament to the complexity of human conflicts and the challenges of finding peace amidst deeply rooted grievances. Until a just and lasting resolution is reached, the cycle of violence and suffering will persist for both Israelis and Palestinians. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content on the world's most pressing issues. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious.